Hello everybody, today is July 13th and today we're doing government and social media news for your world.
This is the first time in how many months?
A year,
it's been more than a year, right?
It's almost it's a year and a half.
Yeah, that we're all at the desk. I was here last week, but Ryan had some problems with his basement.
We could do the one episode of the news until the other thing takes over, and then it's back to the quarantine with us.
Yeah.
Other thing?
The new variant.
Oh, talk to me about the new.
Hopefully,
there's another one now. Kappa. There's Kappa.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We're all
unless that was a joke, because like the Twitch Kappa.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
Let's not think about that. Instead, let's think about the awesome So we've gotten a lot more packages of orange in, like a crazy number of orange. We've got a backlog for weeks.
Yeah, we've still got German chocolates we haven't finished.
Didn't you have this in the orange flavor?
That one is the orange flavor.
Triple citrus?
Oh, what's the picture of an orange on it?
I think it's lemon lime. No, see? Lemon lime orange.
I'm really enjoying the reviews, so in hopes of stretching them out, here's another gift box. This is Winthrop Liquors again.
Oh no!
Winthrop Liquors.
Between Linode and Winthrop Liquors, we have sponsorship covered.
They're going to go out of business. And it's going to be like, where's the inventory?
Focus with a PH and Mighty Swell Blood Orange Seltzer. He's put tape over the can. Is this alcoholic?
Was this a secret?
Spiked seltzer, yeah.
That'd be hilarious if you popped that open and it just sprayed in your face.
Got him.
I got some stickers here.
Oh, pass those this way.
Oh, look, it's a $1 NFT.
Oh.
See,
we can
this guy's just having fun at this point. He's bored at work.
Yeah.
He's just coming
watching
up with
the
stuff.
news.
Yeah.
All right, here is a
Cooper
Scotch barrel.
Ooh. Oh,
we have two of those now.
Noisy. Yeah. The mics are going to pick that up.
Oh, that's for a Moscow Mule. Wow, that's copper. This is like $800 of copper.
Maybe not
heavy.
800. It's got some weight to it, though.
Yeah. That's legit copper, I think.
Oh, this one didn't make it into the fridge. Orange passion fruit. I think I had that one.
You had one of those.
Yeah, that one was really good. Scotch barrel. This
That's
one is like
a Crown Royal bag being repurposed for some reason. Is that another one?
Oh,
another
sorry.
Cup?
Yeah, that's another cup. Oh,
this is a wine glass.
I think Krista gets a reusable straw. We now have 3 reusable straws.
I have some at home too. I'll add that to my repertoire.
I don't know what this is.
Oh, that takes some damage.
22 out of 60. Yeah, it was the box got a little bit messed up on the way here.
Is this the Sarlacc? Yeah.
And it's signed 22 out of 60.
It's the Sarlacc, I think.
Oh, so that's like a original print. I almost threw that on the ground. I'm glad I didn't.
That's a shame that got damaged.
Yeah, there was something that was oozing out of the box too. So.
Oh, well we can get these here.
C4
Maker's
Energy.
Mark.
Now the Sarlacc was the thing in the pit. That was something else, right?
No, somebody else sent balls orange.
That was the German box.
No, there was another box that came. This is balls. Balls is not from Germany. This is hot nuts. Oh yeah, this was.
Oh, that's the damaged one. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one of these that was
exploded.
Yeah.
Was this USPS?
Yeah. No, this was UPS. And then here's a Morgan bobblehead. Yeah. So. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we hit the mic. There was probably a lot of really uncomfortable sounds there for probably a solid 10 seconds.
Who is Morgan?
The thing? The Winthrop Liquors guy? Maybe.
But this is a Fallout, isn't it?
Yeah.
Does Morgan at Winthrop Liquors live in a Fallout shelter?
We don't know for certain, so yes.
Winthrop Liquors is a 350 square foot bar with over 200 whiskeys. The front of the public store is based on an 1800s pub. Orange and orange adjacent drinks. Tangible
Orange
NF2.
adjacent.
Orange adjacent is a nice phrase.
Real tattoo art by Will Ralston of Florida Locals. I think that's who that was from.
That's the Star Wars thing?
I think so.
Somebody's got this on their back or something? Can you imagine?
That'd be a long time.
I saw the Sarlacc in a movie and it really spoke to me.
But no, this is not the Sarlacc. The Sarlacc's the thing in the pit. This has got another name, right?
Is that the trash monster?
This is the one that Luke fights in Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
And crushes it, yeah. The guy cries.
Yeah. Neat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have. Did you try any of the German chocolates last week? They're still in a box back here if you want to try some.
No, I haven't been here at all.
Oh, this is a fancy pen. Look, Old Forester.
Why does a liquor store have all these weird items?
To give the people
you get a lot of
things.
samples when you work in a liquor store.
Oh, you're right. You're probably getting the promotional stuff.
Yeah. We got a giant fake octopus at mine when that Kraken stuff came out, and I was like, what are we gonna do with this?
All right, so I guess I'll do the. He's trying to sneak one in here. The spiked blood orange seltzer.
He's trying to make it so that you'll drink it without knowing.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Deception.
100 calories, 1 serving can by case, 3 grams of added sugars. Ingredients: purified carbonated water, alcohol, natural white grape juice from concentrate, citric acid, natural flavors, potassium citrate. This is pretty easy to manufacture because it's shipped in concentrated form.
Dead air.
Yeah. All of us just waiting for the announcement of what it is.
It tastes like Linode, our sponsor for this week. There's a Linode link below. You can get a $100 credit. It's pretty delicious. You should definitely check out Linode for all of your Linux hosting needs because Linode is pretty awesome. They've got the VPN service you should definitely check out. We've done a bunch of tutorials on Linode. You really should get off of cloud services and instead do your own cloud services that you actually pay for, where they're not mining your data as how they make money. You could roll your own Google Drive, Calibre book server. We've covered a lot in the past.
I actually launched the Jitsi one-click last week, but now Chris is here.
Yeah.
But it worked perfectly from a one-click.
Yeah. If you want your own self-hosted Teams or Zoom, that's what Jitsi will do for you. And it's really awesome. Video quality and plugins and things like that. So you can do self-hosted video stuff.
When they say one click, they are not kidding. Because I had to figure out, I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to secure this because it's just up and running immediately. And I was like, oh God, I can create meetings. So I took it back down. But then I found out Chris was coming in. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Linode, for sponsoring the news. So what do we got? What do we got lined up?
We got government and social media.
You didn't give a rating to that one either.
Oh, that's right.
It tastes like alcoholic blood orange.
You didn't. What was the sweetener in that?
White grape juice concentrate.
So just the natural sugars of the
grape. So fructose then, right?
Yeah, it's probably. Well, it doesn't. It just says purified carbonated water, natural.
Fruit juice.
Yeah, fruit juice. Yeah, it has sugar in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about fructose anything. I wonder if that's.
I think they can hide that away under the natural juice.
Yeah. Or just call it sugar or whatever.
Yeah. So what was the letter grade?
It's alcoholic, so it's kind of cheating. But this is I'd say an A. 2.5% juice. I would not drink this to quench my thirst.
It's alcohol.
It's alcohol.
This would be like a treat.
You should just start crushing that. What if that was like A++? What if your favorite orange soda after we do all these experiments is actually one that's alcoholic, and then you have to become a raging alcoholic?
Well, they do have the alcoholic orange cream.
Yes.
And I think you said you had that, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it's not bad.
Well, you know what else is not bad? And I was reading through this trying to find a reason to hate it. Trying to find the hook, the barb hidden in this juicy treat. But I don't know. It seems pretty positive to me.
We have 2 stories this week where I tried to find the juicy barb. And I didn't find it in this one either, but I did find it in another one.
Yeah, so this one, I mean, it seems like this is nothing but good.
Biden sets up a tech showdown with right to repair rules for the FTC. It's almost like somebody sent him a memo, and it was like, you mean the tractors that farmers use, they're having trouble repairing them because there's DRM in tractors?
The thing that secures our food supply? Should we be concerned about that?
And he was like, I will have none of this.
And obviously phones and a lot of stuff. Now, they are focusing on certain kinds of products rather than doing a mass holistic thing, but they're not saying that anything is excluded. So I think the thing about this one is, it's a nice white fluffy cloud. But hidden inside of it could be plenty of loopholes and changes once they start rolling this out.
I really also want to know who wrote it, because that will inform us. Because if lobbyists wrote it, it's a Trojan horse.
Well, it is telling that they waited for this Lena Khan to take the reins. I think she absolved from the vote because she's new. But she is definitely on that, like, pro-consumer.
A couple of quotes in this. So the Supreme Court, we reported last week that the Supreme Court kind of gutted some of the powers that the FTC has, or at least they said, hey, you didn't follow the procedure. And we'll have a story about that. But there were some quotes in here from the politicians and lawmakers that seem to acknowledge that Supreme Court ruling, and they're like, yeah, the Supreme Court, well, all right, here's new legislation.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably what we need.
Yeah.
Think of the tractors.
We need the DRM on the tractors so that they don't eat children, Ryan. That's how that works.
And you can pay your subscription fee to use your tractor that you bought.
That keeps the children safe. Everybody knows that. Even Peloton, the lowly, treadmill makers, they know that the subscription keeps the children safe.
I am a big believer that a qualified parent would keep their children out of the fields during harvest. The same way they would keep them out of the streets and so forth. It's on you. Now we hear, so much about Russia. We're definitely getting into the next, Russian fervor. And the big, the Biden-Putin summit, that really spiked it.
The Marcia of the Brady Bunch of the UN.
Yeah, they really, the media is loving this narrative right now. And so we get a lot of these stories.
Russia. Russia has, hackers have breached the Republican National Committee and deployed ransomware.
Not really.
Not really.
It was the old third party every time.
And it was not really people that happened to be in Russia, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we don't know if it's the Russian government, but it's that whole, is there any difference between the two argument? Yeah. So, they got some records from the third party. They did not, according to the RNC, they did not get into the RNC. Can you trust the RNC? Can you trust Russia? The answer is no, in both cases.
We won't know until it's on the dark web.
And the FTC, as we mentioned, now under the rule of Miss Lena Khan, who she's definitely getting stuff done. Bit of a socialist, but she's getting stuff done, and she's not wasting any time.
The FTC has voted to expand its antitrust enforcement powers. This is an article from The Hill. I think, but I'm not sure that this is related to that Supreme Court ruling, because the Supreme Court took up the challenge. We reported a couple of, I guess it was last week. Was it last week? It was last week's?
I think so.
The Supreme Court was like, the FTC, you didn't follow procedure. You don't have the authority to do this. And they're like, all right, let's go through the procedure.
So in 2015, they changed the ruling, which would have been the Obama FTC.
Yeah.
Which is weird, to limit their powers. And so now they're saying, no, we don't want to be limited anymore.
Yeah.
We're voting ourselves back into power.
Yeah, which that does seem a little weird. It's like that picture of Obama putting a medal on Obama's chest.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. But they do make some good arguments about hey, we need this power because look what they're doing.
Yeah.
And also Ajit Pai was like, no, the FTC is going to be responsible for this. And they're like, what?
Whoa, bro, we didn't agree to that.
And then he did that after they had been neutered by that change.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was all orchestrated.
Yeah, it definitely was.
But I mean, do you think when they did it in 2015, they were like, all right, call Ajit and tell him when he gets in. They couldn't have known that Trump was going to win.
I don't think anyone knew that was coming. Yeah.
Could not have known that. Well, one big thing about, the government corporate incest, the marriage, the relationships that should not exist is government contracts are massive, massive deals. These companies will spend a lot of money and a lot of effort to try and get them because it's just, it's manna from heaven. But they really, really, really want it, and they'll do almost anything to get it, to the point of King Solomon.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like, all right, chop it in half. Kill it.
Yeah.
If I can't have it, no one can.
CNBC reports the Pentagon has formally canceled the $10 billion JEDI cloud contract that Amazon and Microsoft were fighting over. So this is, if you've been following the news that we do, this is just a formalization. This is what we've been saying for the better part of a year. It's just not worth the headache.
Microsoft won.
Yes.
Amazon didn't like it. They sent out an army of lawyers to find any kind of infraction in the contract process. They maybe found some. There was a lawsuit. And so the government's just saying, all right, you know what?
We'll do it over.
JEDI's not happening anymore. Now we got a new one.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. Except we're not going to do that this time.
This is why smaller firms don't like to do government contracting, because you get jerked around for months on end without payment.
Yeah.
And the new one will be bigger and have more cloud coverage.
Yeah. Although it sounded like that they were going to break it down into like subcomponents, and so we could see a situation where, of the original 10 billion, it'll now be 12 billion, but 3 billion will go to Microsoft, 2 billion will go to Amazon, and like 2 billion will go to Oracle or something crazy like that.
And that'll create probably like 40% more waste.
Yeah.
Because they'll have to try to work together. They'll have to do conference calls every Tuesday with that other team. That accomplishes nothing. Why am I on your conference call? We're competitors. So, yeah. You got to beef up your online structure, right? That's what all the countries are saying. China, Russia, the U.S., even those little EU countries, they're saying, hey, we got to cyberspace.
We've had a bit of a problem with our pipelines lately.
So when this kind of ransomware stuff really, I mean, if you're a leader, that's something you can't ignore, right? Because every day. So what are you going to do? You throw money at it.
DHS is going to add hundreds of new cyber professionals to its ranks. I am really not clear how these cyber professionals, how we're going to get from A to B, because the idea here is that we have less pipeline issues. But I don't know how, are they going to reach out and help? Because the fundamental problem is that these companies don't want to spend money. It literally costs less to pay the ransom than it does to properly maintain your IT infrastructure.
I think probably what they're going to do is they're going to regulate them and force them to take one of these guys in-house.
That's great and also horrifying.
And they'll be making them fill out spreadsheets all morning.
Everybody that's watching this program, your industry is about to be regulated to the nth degree, and it's going to be awful. Your working conditions are not going to improve.
Except maybe oil, just because they're grandfathered in, because they wrote the laws.
They don't need to worry about security. Don't worry about them.
It's definitely not critical infrastructure. Also, do you think at DHS you can get away with man bun and T-shirt?
Oh, yeah, because it's hard to, you can't hire to government standards. They've really had to relax a bunch of things. So that kind of thing's encouraged now.
I bet there's some real old school ex-military types, buttoned all the way to the top who are just furious.
Yeah.
They're just sitting in their office look at this scum.
Yeah,
look at these hippies.
There is a cultural disconnect there because there are a lot of people that are former service members that have done really well with their IT careers, but there's just, a fundamental horrible problem there.
Vice not wanting to load?
Yeah, you might have to click on it and hit enter. I mean, we can simulate it with the blank thing. I remember the story. There we go.
Oh, there it goes.
So if you'll hearken back to January, it was January, right?
Yep.
When the stock market got a little weird, and Robinhood was at the epicenter of it, but when things got weird, they tended to just pull the plug. They're just like, oh, you guys don't understand the kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff we've got going on with our clearinghouse. This could destroy us, so we must turn it off. And a lot of people thought that was illegal.
The feds have seized Robinhood CEO's phone in the GameStop trading halt investigation. This is a news story that we are going to follow with delight and excitement.
Now, Krista, I think, is it still ongoing? I think your household actually got a net positive from the meme stocks, right?
We did, yeah. My husband's the one who does it. I'm not interested in gambling, but he uses a little bit and does a little bit of the meme stocks. And so far, we've come out ahead, but not dramatically so.
Yeah, I made a little bit of money off of one of them.
Yeah.
But all of these people who were not able to get out of these positions as they fell dramatically, obviously are part of these class action lawsuits.
Yeah, 49 in all, which is sort of nuts.
If you're a Robinhood lawyer, you got some busy days coming up.
Yeah, good luck. You might want to quit.
And if you recall, I guess it was week before last, we got news of this new Florida law, which is like the Trump law, saying that social media cannot exclude you if you were any kind of politician running for office or serving in a public office, down to the locals.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost to try to be coroner or whatever?
Like $20.
That would protect you from being banned from Twitter for ever how long the campaign lasts. That's so easy. And one of the judges kind of looked at that. I think he agreed.
Wait a minute. A judge has blocked the Florida law. There's a Florida judge that blocked a Florida law aimed at punishing social media. Yeah. So this is the one that we've reported on a couple of times now.
He's arguing that you're limiting speech in the other direction if you prevent them from banning you, which I guess is kind of true.
Yeah.
This one,
We talked about this last week, but like we didn't have a story for it.
Oh, really? Well, I probably shouldn't be in government, but here it is. So let's just enjoy it. I mean, how can you not enjoy Mrs. Swift? She's so adorable. And this is, obviously, if you're a cop, I can sort of empathize with this. I don't want video of me going on YouTube without my permission. But according to the law, you don't have a choice.
U.S. officer plays Taylor Swift song to try to block video. So they were in public, and it was a protest, and they wanted them to move. And it was like, okay, why do you want us to move? And then, it just turned into a recorded thing. And so the officer was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to play Taylor Swift. And he later admitted, I'm doing this because I think it means that the copyright bots will find this if you post it online.
I think this goes against my very nature, but I'm going to have to defend the cop here. You're very much oversimplifying it, because they were not just standing there. This is the Anti-Police Terror Project. So they were there with an agenda, for sure. And I'm sure they were very annoying, but it's legal. Got to let them do it. Has Taylor weighed in on this?
Not that I'm aware of.
She did, yeah.
Oh, what'd she say?
She said she was kind of appalled. Like, what? How does this work? And it's like, well, it turns out that most of our life is driven by algorithms at this point, whether you know it or not.
How sad is it? I mean, she probably didn't have enough self-awareness to realize this, but how sad is it that you are the first name that someone comes to in their head when they think, oh, how can I abuse copyright?
Yeah. I wonder if she'll change how her music is like licensed at all. Probably not.
Oh, God,
she has more control over it than most artists.
Yeah, she does.
But she probably doesn't make any of those decisions.
Not now, but now she
didn't before. She does now, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, does she?
She owns all the masters. She actually bought her masters back.
Almost all the masters.
Yeah. I know more about that than I should. I'm not really a Taylor Swift fan, but it's all over the place.
How could you not be a Taylor Swift fan?
I mean, her music's fine, but I don't go out of my way to listen to it.
She's a talented artist, but also shrewd with the business end of it, which, no matter who you are, you can admire.
Yeah.
Says someone with no concept of music.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll do a Weird Al cover song for you.
Did you install something? Because look, we don't have the paywall anymore, but also we don't have functionality.
No, we can't scroll.
I didn't do a thing.
Is this an update to Firefox?
Probably.
Good job, Firefox.
Bloomberg.
So this is Google. This is the same story. It's just a different aggressor.
Yeah.
Mostly it's the EU we see a lot. Sometimes it's the federal government, but the state governments are saying, hey guys, you're not leaving us out. We're here.
Google sued by 36 states over alleged Play Store abuses. So the 36 states basically are saying to Google that, hey, you've made side loading too difficult, and that's it. And so Google is saying, wait a minute, side loading is not even possible on Apple's platform. Why are you targeting us? Why don't you go after Apple first? They're the most egregious offender. That's sort of the public comments from Google so far. But in discovery, one of the things in this lawsuit is some emails that Google probably should not have written internally, dealing with Samsung and other large manufacturers that were looking at doing their own app store that was pre-side loaded on their phones. Samsung did that, and then Google said, okay, we got to get in front of this virus, is what they refer to it as.
I was going to say the quote was really extreme.
Yeah.
And they were talking about just destroying it. Basically.
And they paid off other people that were looking at doing the same thing. So that's one of the damning pieces of evidence against Google in this lawsuit. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Apple, because if you remember, a couple weeks ago, Tim Cook responded to the EU, and he was like, hey, listen, don't talk to me about sideloading. That is a security risk, and our customers do not want it. They are safer without it. And one of the EU leaders with the cognitive ability of a 5-year-old was immediately able to refute that.
Apple shouldn't use privacy and security to stave off competition, the EU antitrust head warns. I think that it would have been a more impactful statement if the dude from the EU had just said, that's a disingenuous argument. They know what they're doing.
I don't think a politician can speak that directly without having a stroke. I think they went as direct as they could within their personality.
Stop being dishonest, Apple. Stop.
But they are correct.
You know, Apple's losing it over the right to repair stuff. They're like, no.
Well, you think Tim Cook is always that even-keeled, or is his office just smashed up constantly because of all these things that are happening?
He's got a series of robots that come out and sweep up every time he throws a glass.
And then he beats the robots.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Please.
Because the only thing I can think of, the only executive that I can think of, like when I think unhinged executive, the first one that comes to mind is Steve Ballmer. And you could definitely, knew that Steve Ballmer was definitely the chair throwing kind of a guy. And I don't get that impression from Tim Cook. It's more like, like you tell him something he doesn't want to hear, and then he just hits a button on his desk and you're not there anymore.
I could definitely see him being very passively vengeful, for sure. What about Zuckerberg? You think Zuckerberg's always able to keep it under control?
No, I think Zuckerberg would just not respond, and you would have a problem reading him.
Just power down?
Yeah, and and before you know it, there's like a knife sticking out of your chest or something, and it's like, what have you done?
He's just staring, unblinking into your eyes.
Yeah. It's like, no, that won't work for me. And it's like, all right, what would you like me to do? It's just like,
no answer.
Ugh. Well, we know that we've got the Gray Key and the Celebrite stuff and the Stingrays, and a lot of that stuff actually comes out of Israel for whatever reason. They have good private companies doing it there. But you'd be crazy to think that each country doesn't have their own operation dedicated to this. And the EU definitely has one, and they're saying, hey, we need way more money for this.
The EU device cracking platform to receive a major upgrade. This is, of course, Cerberus. And just to make it clear, because this is the EU, the C and the E in Cerberus is child exploitation response. And by beating encryption or whatever. This is really it's just a tool for brute force trying passwords and pins and fingerprint sensors, trying to bypass whatever protections are on devices, not just phones, tablets, computers, whatever. It would be interesting to see in law enforcement how many times the tool was used, Cerberus, in non-child exploitation cases. Because I'll give you a hint, it's going to be a very large number that is in cases that it's involved in that have nothing to do with child exploitation.
But if we call it that, no one will question it.
That is exactly right.
Also, €4 million? Did they not spend that on catering? I mean, that seems like an amazingly low number, don't you think?
Yeah.
How many employees could that possibly be? That's one guy with an abacus.
This is probably the least bad way of dealing with this, because anything else, any other approach it turns into backdoor encryption, and we must avoid that at all costs. So if they need to build better tools to, examine criminals' devices, okay, but it's sort of precluded on having physical access to the devices, and that's probably better than giving them blanket access remotely.
I think you just inadvertently answered my question. The reason the budget is so low is because they want it to fail, because they want backdoor encryption.
Probably.
Oh.
Every time you think maybe it's not so bad, you think about it for a little bit longer, and it's
worse.
Oh, it's getting worse. The story that has the secret agenda, it's in the U.S. and we're coming up to it.
So, Brexit happened. How long ago was Brexit at this point?
Decades.
It's been like a year, right? 2 years?
Feels like decades.
Because they didn't finish it till way later. But anyway, the country did not immediately burst into flame, as some people predicted, but it also did not create this financial revolution, as the other team predicted. It's kind of just sort of limping along.
I think it kind of complicated a lot of things, like shipping for them.
Well, or map making.
The private equity investment of the country world.
And this is a crazy thing, and I'm I can't figure out. I want to get you guys' take on this. They refer to, you cannot get a copyright on factual representations of the world.
Yeah.
That's a broad definition.
Yeah.
Who do you think decides what a factual representation of the world is?
The thing with map makers is usually they make fictitious streets and stuff on the map that no one will ever actually go to. So if somebody copies the map, then there's your copyright infringement.
But these guys, I think because it's an open system, they're trying to get it to be completely accurate. Anyway, they're running into problems.
OpenStreetMap looks to relocate to the EU due to Brexit limitations. The open source UK tech company cites copyright issues, rising costs, and the prospect of more influence in the EU. So basically it's like, hey, you're not part of the EU. You're over there on the island. Oh, oops.
So it's OpenStreetMaps, but they need to be able to have some ownership because they put in so much work to create this. They can't just have somebody steal it and sell it. So that's the kind of thing they're trying to deal with.
And they can't do that from the Isles.
I've never heard of Klarna. Have you?
Nope.
That's such a Swedish name, though.
Yeah.
Klarna. And this is online banking. We will see several stories about online banking this week that should make you want to not use online banking.
Swedish watchdog to investigate Klarna for bank secrecy breach. And you think, oh, was this something like Equifax? No. Some customers, when you log in, saw other customers' information. The most relatively minor blip of oopses from a programming standpoint. And there's this like full formal investigation.
And I love how, if you contrast this with our tech companies.
Yeah.
Klarna was like, yeah, we're sorry, and we're definitely going to work with them. And yeah, it's not that big a deal, but we're taking it seriously.
Yeah. Whereas our tech companies are like, we did nothing wrong.
Our tech companies are like, we're suing you.
For even daring to question us and our authority.
How dare you speak to me? That's Tim Cook's response. China had a big week. A lot of stuff happened in the stock market. So I don't know if we have like the original story somewhere, but basically in Hong Kong, you could list a Chinese company on an American exchange so Americans could invest in it, but it wasn't legal, but it wasn't illegal. Now it's illegal. And a lot of things happened.
China tech route deepens as Beijing targets data and U.S. listings. So, yeah, some things are really messy in Hong Kong from this.
And they had the big Didi IPO. Now, Didi is an app in China. And we don't have it here, right?
I've never heard of it, yeah.
And it's a big one, and it's really, really popular. And they were going to go, it's like, all right, we're ready for the IPO. And the Chinese government just stepped in and cut them out at the knees.
The Didi app pulled from app stores in China after suspension order. So this is like it started out as a ride-sharing application, but it's used for like that whole gig worker thing in the Asian countries. And I think it was pretty popular in Hong Kong. But yeah, they're like, no, we don't want this.
I think all of these are listed in Hong Kong, right? Because they're the ones with the exchange.
Yeah.
So it does still work, and they're working on maybe making the changes to the data collection to get it back into the stores. If you have it, then you can use it, but you cannot install it currently. And their stock really did poorly based on that.
Yeah. Things are still very, very dicey in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong has also introduced some interesting data laws, and this goes on to the whole Didi thing. Didi fell under the treads of the Communist Party because they were collecting data. Now, that might not be the real reason, but that's the reason they use to do it.
And then
they said, oh, that worked really well.
Facebook, Twitter, and Google threatened to quit Hong Kong over proposed data laws. The industry group representing the company says the proposed anti-doxing rules could put staff based locally at risk of criminal charges. So it's a smokescreen. It's not really about doxing. It's about control.
Yeah, and not letting certain people communicate with these social platforms.
Yeah.
And it's effective.
Yeah, it's like, we need it to be just like it already is in China. And they're like, but this is Hong Kong. And China's like, no.
No, I think this is China's now.
Yeah, and the big part of this argument everywhere is how much protection do we give the platforms when it comes to the things people say. So here in America, we got Article 230. And oh my God, does one side of the government desperately want to destroy that. We hear it over and over again. India had a similar kind of thing, except it's kind of piecemeal. Whenever they feel like it, they can yank it.
Twitter has lost liability protection in India, the government says. Now, technically, these are executives saying this, and it's got to go through the court system in India. So this doesn't have a lot of teeth yet, at least according to the TechCrunch article.
Well, you mean it's lawmakers that are saying?
Yeah, the lawmakers are saying this. And so is it just a formality until it actually goes through the court system, or is this really true? This is, of course, the ongoing saga about the cow urine/poop. Which, by the way, you know those journalists that we reported on? They've been in jail continuously for like 50 days now.
Now, was India where they arrested Twitter's office?
Yeah, where
Yeah.
they raided the office.
Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, they threatened arrests, but no, there's a journalist. There's two journalists there that just do like regular reporting, like the equivalent of like The Verge reporting.
The anti-cow urine people.
Yeah, and they had in a regular beat. They just had the, by the way, don't actually take the whole cow urine, cow poop thing seriously. And for that, they are and have been arrested. And they're still in jail.
I bet Indian jails are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen a prison program about Indian jails, and I bet the reason is they won't let cameras in there.
Yeah.
They'll be able to write a hell of a book if they ever get out, though.
Disappointing. They need to move to another country if they ever get out. Good Lord.
That's true. We should give them amnesty.
Yes.
And a book deal.
They could totally come live in my basement. Not even joking.
I can't offer them that. My basement's flooded.
Maybe they would help with that. Like room and board.
It's not flooded anymore, but it's probably going to flood
No,
again.
it's okay now.
Your problem is not one of skilled labor.
It's a little musty. Well, moving on to the robot section, we have a lot of AI stories, as usual, because mostly the world we live in is all about robot AI. And this one has to do with, what was the name of Google's thing that started this whole thing? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, the AI. I can't remember.
But Google came up with this thing, and they were like, look, we can synthesize voices if you just give us a little sample. Look at this amazing thing. And that was a couple of years ago. It's gotten a lot better.
It's evolved.
And it turns out you only need about 30 minutes of someone's voice. Jeez, that means all of us are at risk.
Yeah.
And you can do this.
TikTok has a lawsuit that it's facing that is highlighting how AI is screwing over voice actors. So Bev's standing. She did about 30 minutes or a few hours of voice acting, and it's like, wait a minute, they have all these recordings of me saying stuff I never said. It turns out the AI, they were able to take what she recorded and synthesize everything else they needed, and they can use it in perpetuity. But it's like, did the voice actor intend to sign that away?
She says no. She's very vocal about it, in fact. Also, the Siri voice actors, same deal.
Yeah.
She never agreed to be Siri.
Wow.
She just did other stuff, and they bought it.
That's some Little Mermaid shit. Where they steal her voice.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be the thumbnail this week.
You think a lot of modern kids know that reference? Do they go back and watch the Disney classics, kids?
Yeah.
You think so?
They'll probably do a live action remake of Little Mermaid next.
I imagine if you have kids, you just play everything, right? Just keep them busy.
Probably.
If you're a bad parent.
Yeah. Here, watch this iPad. Go away.
Yeah, exactly. Disney Plus.
I would have enjoyed that as a kid.
Disney?
I feel like you probably would have taken the iPad apart.
Yeah.
Instead of watching Disney. Their parents are going to come back in and it's just in pieces all over the couch.
Ruin the family TV that way.
Yeah.
I managed to get it back together eventually, though.
Well, YouTube recommendations. I got to say, YouTube gives me a lot of bizarre recommendations, but more often than not, if I click on them, I'm like, well, I do like this.
I feel like YouTube just shows me the same videos over and over and over and over again.
That is bad. They're bad about that, especially ones I've seen before.
Yeah.
But anyway, the algorithm, as we all know, it's a huge black darkness in our lives because it hates us. If it doesn't choose you, it's your greatest enemy. And a lot of people are saying that it has even greater flaws.
YouTube's recommender algorithm, AI, is still a horror show. It's a major crowdsourced study. It's like, hey, people watch all these videos. Let's give them more of those kinds of videos that are the most horrific things you can imagine. The kinds of videos that, what is it you say? You have to take a hate nap after?
Yeah.
It never shows me videos that anger me. I think it understands.
Mine's like, oh, you liked this video about tiny houses? Here's one that you've already seen.
I Googled something about apple cider vinegar one day, and my YouTube just blew up with apple cider vinegar content. You would be amazed how much there is.
Same with canning tutorials. I don't need that many recipes for blackberry jam. There's only so many ways to can it.
I bet there's an almost unlimited number of ways to can it.
Not safely. You can only do so many things.
Here's a headline that shows you just how much the Russian buzzword is important for media these days. There's no reason for the word Russian to be in this headline, but hey, it's clickbait, right?
Grubhub will use Russian-made robots to deliver food on college campuses. Those foods will be laden with ransomware and will encrypt your burritos.
No, not my burritos.
Revel branded robots.
Will no one think of Taco Tuesday?
They're Yandex branded. Yandex. This is Yandex, the company. So
That's an interesting art installation behind there.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, final verdict on Mighty Swell. It is delicious. It's a very, very good 5% alcohol by volume. It's well crafted. They claim it's clean and refreshing. I would agree with that. This is delightful for 100 calories.
Is that you talking or the alcohol? It's 5% alcohol.
Yeah, I mean that's not super alcoholic.
Drink another one. Actually,
5% is
one.
about what you get with beer. Some
Yeah.
beer is lower than that.
It doesn't taste beery. You know how like all the other orange stuff tasted beery? This is decidedly not beery.
I think that's just a malt. I don't think there's any hops in that.
Yeah. So
It's also gluten-free, I can see.
Oh.
like water's gluten free.
All right, well, that's good to know.
I like this was nice. It was not heavy, refreshing.
Just smash the can on the desk.
You know who deserves a cold, what was that thing called? Swell.
Swell.
A Mighty, who has worked so
Cold
hard,
brew.
they should get a whole case of Mighty Swell. And they should get it like, a back
Delivery might
rub.
be an issue.
They've earned it, but they'll never taste it because they're so far away.
NASA's Mars helicopter breaks records in a challenging, nerve-wracking flight. A high-risk, high-reward attempt fits perfectly with the goals of our current operational demonstration phase. It flew up the side of a mountain, 5 meters per second. That's pretty quick.
And we're getting to the point where it's like, all right, we're not sure. We were pretty confident that this could do what we were trying to get it to do before, but now we're just pushing it.
Yeah.
And it keeps crushing it. What a great little robot. What do you think will happen? Will we be able to recover it when we finally colonize Mars? Will it get a place in the history of Mars?
It'll be in like a museum somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll probably build a museum around its final place that it stopped or whatever. Unless we have a world war or something, we'll probably not lose it. We'll probably know exactly precisely where it is for generations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And eventually we'll probably get up there too.
Yeah.
It's on top of a Mars sinkhole, much like the Corvette Museum in Kentucky, and then it collapses the museum around it.
Do you think there's a lot of sinkholes on a planet
Yeah, with the
no
water.
rain?
Yeah. Yeah, all that limestone's just being eroded away by all the water on Mars.
Now, if Kurzgesagt is to be believed, Venus is going to be much easier to terraform than Mars, but we'll see.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it's definitely a lot less hospitable by default.
But it's got all the materials we need there to turn it into, like, we can have its own functional atmosphere.
How would you thin the atmosphere, though? Because isn't the problem Venus's atmosphere is so thick?
You got to go watch the Kurzgesagt video.
Look, you're promoting other YouTube channels in the middle of our news segment. I do love that channel.
Yeah, it's
I'm
great.
subscribed.
And our final story is one of these just existential dread stories because this is not coming, it's here.
Yes.
And eventually we will all be subject to it, and it will be a nightmare.
What happened when a wildly irrational algorithm made crucial healthcare decisions? Well, people die. That's what happens. And it's already here.
That's it. That's the end of the article. See you next week.
So yeah, they are definitely, and the story here is not so much just the AI decided I have to die. The story is more about like, okay, I see that something is clearly wrong here. Like I understand what the problem is, but I cannot talk to a human being to correct it.
Oh, no.
Someone's phone's ringing.
Why is that even happening?
Chat.
Sorry.
So yeah, AI's in control of healthcare, and we're all going to die.
There's a flow chart there. Did someone make that image? Oh, it's a
It's a video.
Not only is the algorithm horribly anti-human, it is apparently also racist.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with it because it takes. You could say that it's not racist at all because it doesn't take that into account at all.
Well, but it was trained on data that did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and modern. Well, it's trained on a majority, which how do you defeat that?
But also like thinking about things like I think heart disease is more common in like black people, and it's like, do they have worse outcomes? And then so is the algorithm looking at that and being like, this person doesn't deserve as good of care because they tend to have worse outcomes. And it's like, no algorithm.
But if you took it the other direction, it would be just as bad.
Yeah.
So maybe the answer is don't use an algorithm.
Yeah, maybe have a human make that decision, but
It's basically already this way, at least in America. Like, you have to make friends with your doctor and make your doctor care about you, otherwise they don't care.
And some of them you're not making friends with.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's time to find a new doctor in that case.
Or No doctors at all.
I'm
The
gonna keep
true
going.
American way.
Yeah, it's like, and that's what the insurance companies want. It's like, I'm just going to keep going until I can't anymore. And, any kind of basic medicine that might keep me alive another 20 years, don't worry about it.
I'll just buy my painkillers down at the railroad tracks like everybody else in this town.
I mean, it worked out for Steve Jobs.
He died.
He died of something that was very curable.
But he didn't have the excuse of, he didn't need insurance. He was self-insured.
All of his doctors cared very much about him. They just wouldn't
yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
And his infinite money.
All right, well, tomorrow will be business and something else. I don't know what else yet.
And the review of the Sparkling Ice Caffeine Triple Citrus Flavored Sparkling Water.
Static water.
It's like a less sugary Sprite.
Don't give it
even
away.
More citrus.
No, make them watch.
Yeah, you got to tune in tomorrow for the more full review. And maybe also I'll get into the balls.
All right. On that note, bye.